Okay, so here's another question that we get, and it's basically, Juan, should I really try to sell through you as an, with an agent and pay your commission, or can't I just sell by myself, for sale by owner, and I'll find a buyer and I'll save myself the commission? And so here's basically what we know is that the people who sell by owner net less money than when they hire an agent. So let me give you, some things to think about. So typically, when a buyer buys a property directly from an individual, from John Smith, Mary Smith, they know that there's no other agent involved. They are already going in with a mindset that they're going to discount the price. It's just human behavior and psychology, and that's just how it is. It's no different than, you and I buying something off the street versus buying it from a store. We know that from the store, we're going to pay top dollar, right? Versus if we're buying it off the street. And most importantly, if the person selling it to us in the street is inexperienced and they don't really have all the knowledge and they don't have all the facts and data about the market, chances are we're going to be able to get a better deal as a buyer if we're trying to buy it from somebody off the street. And so buyers understand that. What happens is that we know that 90% of people who try to sell by owner, who initially say, well, I'm going to try to sell on my own, and then if anything, I'll call you, 90% of those people end up working with an agent in the first 30 days. That's just how the math ends up being. That's why there are still realtors. But most importantly, here's what you need to know. I know for sure that with me, I'm 1,000% convinced that I can net you more money in your pocket, even after paying our commission and closing costs, etc. You're going to net more money in your pocket than if you were to sell on your own for a number of different reasons. And I'll just list some of them. One is that as soon as the buyer gets to an inspection, they're going to find something wrong with the house. It's inevitable. They are. And if you're not represented or you don't understand the market completely, whether there's a lot of buyers or a few buyers or the recent sales that just happened or the property that's under contract with Billy Jones, the other realtor, which, we're always keeping track of, you're not really going to know whether you should actually discount the price or and do it because maybe it's fair, or if you can just hold and not discount the price because you don't have to, because maybe we know that there are no other options, right? An inspection is going to be the first place where in a regular for sale by owner transaction, the buyer typically is going to win. They're just going to discount money off the top. The other one is if there's any other title issues, if there's an insurance issue, and then also an appraisal. If you're not represented by an agent, and let's say there's a buyer who just comes in, does an appraisal, it's very likely that you're going to end up selling for appraised value. And depending on the market, you may not have to sell for appraised value, right? Also, if you're not being represented by an agent, the appraiser is going to know that there's no other third-party professional realtor that's going to double-check their work to make sure that that appraised value is in fact accurate. Because we can ask for a review of the appraisal not in some cases, in all cases. Now, whether they change their mind or not, or whether we ask for a second appraisal or not, that's a different situation. But it does happen all the time. So I know for sure that if you sell by owner, unfortunately, you're going to net less. Also, it's probably going to take you longer to sell. Because the reality is that when we sell your property, part of our job, if we're doing it correctly, which we do, is that we're going to market it extensively. We need to be able to promote your property, and we do, to the entire world, not just to the people locally in your subdivision, right? With a sign in the front yard. We need to put it out to the entire world to be able to create as much exposure as possible, as much interest as possible from everyone and their mother all over the world, to hopefully attract many, many interested people, to then filter through those interested people to see how many of them are actually qualified for your specific price point, to then filter through those to see how many of those that are interested and qualified actually could present an offer on yours, and then try to convince them that your property is the best option for them based on the low taxes, the low association, etc., versus the other house down the street, right? So that's basically what we do. And if you don't have somebody doing that on your behalf, I know that it's going to take you longer to sell the property. The other thing too is that because we do that, it's kind of like when somebody sells, an expensive piece of art, right? If that expensive piece of art is sold privately, it's probably going to sell for less. But if that expensive piece of art is sold at auction, right, to all the qualified people that can afford it, it's typically going to get a higher price. And that's why those pieces of art end up selling at auction, even though they charge the seller a commission. It's because, frankly, we absolutely do, our job needs to pay for itself. Our commission needs to pay for itself. If we cost you money, that makes no sense. We should be able to, any agent, any good agent, should be able to sell your property, and if even after paying a commission and paying your normal closing costs, your net amount should be higher than if you sold to yourself. And their job, their work, their commission should pay for itself. Yes, there's no reason that is like it's no different than you cutting your own grass, right? You pay somebody to maybe cut your grass because it pays for itself, because you don't have to do it, you don't have to sweat, you don't have to worry about it. It just, somebody comes in and they do it, right? With selling a property is the same thing. Plus, there's so many flying pieces and factors and intricacies and details, and literally, no less than 600 messages back and forth, 300 plus emails. And listen, everything that I'm telling you, I am absolutely happy to verify, to show it to you, to prove, to show you my laptop and show you I worked on this particular transaction at 123 Main Street. Here are the pictures. Here are all the emails involved in that transaction. All that back and forth, it just takes a toll. So that's why most people end up working with an agent. Now, it really comes down to which agent do you like. And hopefully, we'd love to have the opportunity to work with you. And even if it's not us, I highly recommend that you work with a qualified, professional agent that you like, that you trust, that can net you the most amount of money. So anyway, hope you find that helpful. Let me know if you have any questions at all, and I'll see you in another video.